What kind of person does it take to look at a vast, untamed mountain wilderness like this in 1877 and say, I can build a toll road over that? Well, if you want to know the whole story, you should come along for the ride today on Engineer Pass. This is Journey Beyond Overland, the place where adventures begin. My name is Chris, and today, along with my husband Bill, our dogs Rue and Rourke, and Bill's kids Taylor and Tristan, we're taking on a 12,800-foot pass that was named for the people who built it. Welcome to Ouray, Colorado. This quaint little town of only around 1,000 people is nestled among the beautiful San Juan Mountains at about 7,800 feet in elevation. It's also the place that Bill dreams of retiring to, but not quite yet. If you come into town from the south side, you'll drive in on the famous $1 Million Highway, which was actually originally constructed as a wagon route back in the 1880s. But before that man built the original wagon route along the $1 Million Highway, he built this road, a toll road up over a 12,800-foot, then unnamed mountain pass. Maps today call this old toll road County Road 18, or some call it Engineer Pass Road. Whatever you want to call it, we didn't get very far, probably less than 100 yards, before we found something that compelled us to stop in our tracks.
Oh, man.
All right, how do you want us to do this thing?
Well, push on that.
This gentleman was riding his bike at the tail end of a small group, and somehow he'd gotten crosswise on those rocks and slipped right over the edge. Thankfully, at this part of the trail, there's enough brush and bushes and trees that it prevented him from tumbling further down into the ravine. We arrived there just in time to help him right the bike, get it back on the trail, and help him head down towards the rest of his group.
Yeah, you're almost down.
And with that gentleman and his bike now safely back with the rest of his group, Bill, Tristan, Taylor, and I were free to head on up the road. The track from the $1 Million Highway up along Mineral Creek, up over Engineer Pass and down to Lake City on the other side is about 27 miles long. Those first miles along Mineral Creek are rated at a level 5. The west side of Engineer Pass and the switchbacks are rated about a level 4, with the far side headed down into Lake City from Engineer Pass being a far easier road. Just like along the $1 Million Highway, there are some stretches here that are cut straight into the mountainside. In order to cut the original toll roads into the rock faces, the builders sent men down on 600-foot-long cables with explosives to blast away a ledge so that they then could lower wagons and burros by rope to that same ledge and begin cutting the road away from the ledge in opposite directions. You would probably expect that the man responsible for building over 450 miles of toll roads through this kind of landscape would have an expertise in engineering or other sorts of road building, but that simply wasn't the case. In fact, the first toll road that Otto Mears built, he built solely because he wanted to get his wheat to a better market. Otto was not born into the lap of luxury. He was born in 1840 in present-day Latvia. His mother died when he was 1, and his father by the time he was 3. A local uncle initially took him in, but then shipped him off to London to his second uncle, who then shipped him off via ship across the Atlantic Ocean to a third uncle in New York City, where he arrived when he was about 9 years old. That uncle didn't want to keep Otto either, and before he was 11, he had taken a ship from New York City to Panama, crossed the Panama Isthmus on horseback, and then taken a second ship from Panama all the way to San Francisco, where he discovered that the uncle he was supposed to be living with had left for Australia several months before. Thankfully, even 11-year-old Otto was pretty darn resourceful. He befriended a local woman who ran a boarding house and also sold newspapers, milked cows, and took on other odd jobs to make ends meet. By age 19, he left San Francisco behind, going to seek his fortune in the goldfields of California and Nevada. In 1861, when the call for volunteers came for the Civil War, he volunteered with the 1st California Infantry Regiment.
Hey, up here. Yeah, up here. Down and around is Poughkeepsie Gulch. There you go.
Although Otto didn't strike it rich in the goldfields, by the time he mustered out of the army in 1864, he had over $1,500 in his pocket. Because while all the other soldiers were just getting by, he took on the extra duty of baking bread for the army, which meant that the army gave him 1 pound of flour for every loaf of bread that he made, which was more than he needed. And so he took that extra flour, sold it to the Native Americans, and pocketed all that extra money. Within 2 years, he'd moved to Colorado, opened his own mercantile store, and helped establish the first grist mill and lumber mill in southwest Colorado. And when he couldn't find enough wheat to meet the demand, he decided to raise 200 acres of his own wheat. But by the time his wheat had grown, the prices had plummeted locally, and he was looking for another market. And so in the late 1860s, Otto loaded up that wagon full of wheat and tried to take it over Pancho Pass on that narrow burro route. But it broke down and wheat went everywhere. And that's exactly where the Colorado territorial governor discovered him, trying to shovel all that grain back into the wagon. And that's when the governor suggested to Otto that it would be a really great idea for somebody to build a toll road here, because after all, it was an easy thing to do. All you had to do was go to Denver, apply and pay that $5 charter fee, and tell them where your terminals were going to be. No engineering specs, no other plans, and then you'd have a 20-year franchise on any toll road you built. Although Otto thought that governor was just a little bit crazy, he took the advice to heart. He went and he paid that $5 charter fee, and in 1870 he built 50 miles of toll road over Pancho Pass. After that first success, Otto Mears spent the next 10 years changing the face of this area with 450 miles of toll road, including both the road that's now the $1 Million Highway and the road over Engineer Pass. It makes me wonder sometimes, what would Otto and all those men that built these roads think about the vehicles we drive over them today? Toll road building was not even close to the end of Otto's story. In the 1880s and 90s, he built 3 separate narrow-gauge railroads in the area. He also handled U.S. mail along several routes that others claimed were completely impassable. He learned to speak fluent Ute and negotiated several treaties with the local Native Americans, including one that moved them to Utah to a small reservation. The move was accomplished via his toll roads, which cost the U.S. government $100,000. In 1883, he was elected to a single term in the Colorado legislature. When things felt impossible, Otto was always the man who figured it out. One of his friends once remarked, "Mr. Mears is a man that always says I can."
Yep.
And he did. I can only guess what these roads looked like back in the 1870s and 80s when they were originally built. But today, if you want an idea of what the road looks like up to Engineer Pass, here's just a glimpse. Otto Mears was known as the pathfinder of the San Juans. He was such a big mover and shaker in Colorado that there's even a stained glass window of him in the Colorado Capitol building, which is extremely appropriate given that Otto Mears was the man who convinced Colorado gold miners to donate 200 ounces of gold to gild the dome of the state Capitol building when the original copper became tarnished. So what exactly was it about Otto that made people refer to him as the ubiquitous Mr. Mears? He was an orphan that had to fend for himself at a young age. He was an entrepreneur who knew exactly what people would pay for and didn't let his lack of education stop him from achieving great things. He was also a loving and dedicated husband and a father to 2 daughters who made it to adulthood. His network of toll roads and railroads put this remote part of wilderness Colorado just a little closer in reach, and the remnants of those roads are the reason we can still drive here today.
What's up, Gary's?
Coke. We got sunglasses.
Money is kind of incredible.
It's like $3.
I know, but why?
You could have $100 in there and it's useless up here.
Lots of business cards.
You don't need money here.
Lots of chewing.
Probably big line of
Once you enjoy the top of the 12,800-foot Engineer Pass, there's nowhere to go but down. In recounting the life of the man who became the pathfinder of the San Juans, I've described a man who overcame great adversity as a young child and who left behind great and indelible marks in Colorado history. But not all of Otto's life went according to plan. Following the financial panic and silver crisis of the 1890s, one of his narrow-gauge railroads went into bankruptcy. After the sale, he was forced to take a job back east, helping to build a different railroad. He didn't return to the San Juans and the mountains that he loved until the early 1900s.
It's snowing. I'm in my shorts. Perfect.
When he returned, he purchased leases for 2 separate mines and eventually made a modest profit on them. But around 1920, he terminated all of his leases and interests in Colorado, sold his home in Silverton, and moved to California with his wife, in the hope that it would help her ailing health. Otto's wife Mary passed away in 1924, and he remained on at a nursing home in California until he passed away in 1931 at the venerable old age of 91. His ashes and the ashes of his wife were carried back to the San Juans and cast into the winds. About a week after he passed away, a small Colorado newspaper called the Surface Creek Champion remembered Otto Mears like this. Otto Mears, one of Colorado's early builders, died at the age of 91 years at his home in California Wednesday of last week. He built the first wagon roads into the Great Western Slope region, later enlarging his activities to building railroads. Many western towns were founded by Mr. Mears, and during the boom days were living monuments to his industry. Unfortunately, some of those towns have not survived, but through no fault of the founder. Truly, Otto Mears can be numbered among the top-notchers of early-day builders.
So normally when I'm sitting down on a rock, pretty much in the top of a creek, because I fell and hurt my foot again, but today I'm just enjoying the peace and the quiet of a mountain stream while everybody else perks up. And sometimes you do just need that moment to yourself to relax.
Several years before Otto Mears built this toll road, 4 men registered claims to the ubiquitous mine. Power for the mine was created by a hydroelectric dam built right near the site. After Mears built the toll road through this area, the unincorporated town of Henson sprang up right around the mine site, and today you can still walk around and view many of the old buildings of Henson. I'm usually the first one to stop the Jeep and jump out, ready to go and explore all those ruins of history. But today, we were already a couple hours behind our intended schedule, and we needed to keep moving. The ghost town of Henson and the ubiquitous mine are only about 4 miles outside of Lake City, along Easy Road, but even that easy road can eat up just a little time in the driving. Our destination for tomorrow was over 165 miles away, probably around 3.5 hours of drive time if you were to drive straight through. As we didn't reach Lake City until almost 4:30 p.m., we knew full well that the likelihood of driving that far tonight was pretty much zero. So instead, we started looking for the availability of dispersed camping between Lake City and Gunnison. And although we didn't find exactly what we were looking for, instead, we headed back to an old familiar camping area, a place near Gunnison with lots of dispersed camping, a place called Hartman Rock.
Cheers. I wouldn't recommend eating those. You missed your dad. Try again. Rue's gonna go.
Ah, my boobs. Well, that's awkward.
Trying to get the nice little, boring dinner shot. Here it is.
Boring with us? Hello. Welcome to the family, YouTube.
This is definitely not a boring dinner when these two are with us. He needs to put his arm up again.
I got one signal right now.
You got one signal? All right, so what are you two doing?
Someone has to make a speaking part. I'm searching for the internet.
Same here. I'm uploading videos to the internet for the channel, and for some reason the signal works up here, but it does not work down here.
Maybe
So-
if I get up my tent, I'll have signal.
That's true. You might have signal up in the tent. Thought about that? Or you could stand up and do it. Okay.
Thanks so much for joining us as we traveled over Engineer Pass and learned about the life and legacy of the man who built it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in knowing where we're headed next time, it's going to look a little like this. Colorado is a veritable treasure chest of unique places and trails, and our next adventure is going to take us to a tiny spot on the map that's renowned for a rare and unique stone that can only be found here in Colorado. Population 133. This is a place where you can't even throw a stone without running into an interesting piece of history, a scenic view, or meeting some of the wonderful and colorful people who call this place home. So I hope you'll come back and join us on that adventure to the little tiny town of Marble and the Crystal Mill. But until we see you again, make sure to go out and find your own adventure.